Alright everyone, this is Eternal Blade here and welcome back to the tutorial. So right now we are going to begin work on the cabinet here in the corner. So let's start off. We're just going to go into perspective here and just take a look at sort of what we have. We got some crazy stuff here. Let's just hide some selections. Alright. So let's see, we will just go into shaded mode here, and we'll delete this top piece as I don't think we need it. And I have the picture off again to the side. If you're watching the stream, you can see it on the bottom left here. I'm actually streaming this on twitch.tv/eternalblade if you have any interest in checking that out. So let's move this TV up just a bit. It's got to be a little closer to the top. Alright, let's grab this box, convert it to an editable poly, and let's just go in here and grab the top pieces and simply raise them up until they reach just about the bottom of the TV here. Alright, that will do pretty good, I think. I feel like, man, no, that's got to be about right. Okay. And then on the front, let's see, actually left-hand side perhaps. Grab the front of the cabinet and just drag it back a bit. This will give us room for the door and everything. Now this is a pretty basic cabinet, so we shouldn't have to do too much. Next thing we're going to do is go into perspective here and let us click here, just do a quick connection and sort of raise it up. We're just dividing it into two pieces here. Alright, that should do perfect right about there. And then grab the corners here, inset, just inset them a little bit. And actually, let's grab the bottom of this. It seems to be a bit low. There we go. And place it right in a little bit. And let's take these and inset them again one more time. Actually, let's redo that inset. What we need to do is inset by polygon here. There we go. And let's just do that. And what we're doing here is just creating a little area for the shelves just to go back. We're just going to extrude this back a little bit, just in case for some reason you need to open the shelves at all. Alright, so now let's go in here and we're just going to create a couple simple faces. There are no real tricky bevels or anything, but actually before we do that, let's go into the edge mode here and select, let's see here, what do we want? All of these edges here and connect. We want two connections and just pinch them so that way they're sort of out a little bit. Alright, I'm actually debating if this even needs a turbo smooth. It probably doesn't, but actually, let's just select everything, chamfer, and we're just going to give it a small chamfer here. I think this will actually be the easiest way of accomplishing what we want. Alright, that shouldn't do anything too bad. Alright, that will work. And we have a nice little desk there. Good. Next, let's go into our box here and simply, using the auto grid, add some shelves. Okay, convert to editable poly here. And all you want to do is line up just approximately the edges with the edges of our cabinet. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect because, and the reason we're doing this by hand is because things are not perfect in life. If you do it absolutely spot on every time, I can almost assure you that your model will look weird, like guaranteed. All right, so let's select all this again, chamfer, and we're looking over here. Give it a small chamfer, just enough to sort of, you know, break up the model from being, you know, too flat, you know, two-dimensional almost. All right, we gotta watch out there. We actually made it an instance, so let's copy that one more time and make it just a copy. All right, let's come down over here and let's see what we've got. Bring it almost right to the bottom, a little bit above. And I'm looking in multiple viewports here just to ensure that these look right, and they do. All right, we have a little bit of a gap there, that's good. Now what we need to do is go into our viewport over here, left viewport, and simply select both of these and bring them off the edge just a bit, okay? Now, we're not going to model the hinges because we won't ever see those, but what we will model is, actually, we may not have to even model anything. Oh yeah, we will, because, okay. So, let's build a cylinder here, and we will just place it sort of right in this corner area, just like that, all right? And then if you go and 15 should be fine. That's almost probably overkill, but we're just gonna make the little knob that is required for these things. So just use your bevel, and let's sort of bevel in. Okay, kind of come out a little bit, and do a little knob action. All right, there we go, and that should just about do it. You can press F3 here and just give the back a little bit of a bevel, just so when we use the turbo smooth, it comes out nice and smooth. There we go, perfect little thing there. All right, and then what we can do with that is simply copy it down over here, and that seems to be about good. Actually, go into perspective mode over here and see how that looks. So this needs to come up just a bit, and this needs to come up a bit more as well. Just trying to get them to where they're about the same distance away from the center point there. And that seems to be pretty good. So back to the camera. All right. Next, I think that's actually done. That was quick. Okay, so nothing overly complex there. We can actually hide that camera. We don't really need to see it. And in fact, I think we can delete that. We don't really need it. So let's just save our scene here now that we've come to a milestone. All right, and I'm trying to think of anything else we need to have on this piece, and I can't think of anything. So let's, actually I'm thinking these might need to be a bit bigger. Well, what we really want to do is, again, make these need to be instances of each other because we're going to have multiple of them. Okay, next let's work on, I'm going to say, the mirror portion of it. So let's get rid of this just so we can see what we've got here. So, and actually we'll copy one of these down because I know we're going to need it. And then let's grab all this, make it gray, and group, and we'll call this TV stand. Okay. So for the mirror, we kind of have a couple swooping shapes, I think they're actually made out of just boxes, so we're gonna try to make them out of boxes as well. So the easiest way to do that is to make a box. So we're gonna have a nice flat box here, convert it to an editable poly, and simply raise it. You want it to not go into this, but be right below it. Alright, so let's take a look at how that's going. So, I can say right below it. There we go. Alright, and then it looks like we need to, let's see, there's sort of a frame on this, and let's see if we can create that. So what we're first going to do here is build a box on the bottom. Alright, so it doesn't have to be very big. Well, actually we can make it as big as we want, I guess. No one can really tell. So probably about that high, just enough for an outlet or something to fit in there. And then we're going to hide this just so we can get easy access here. And let's rotate this about, I'm going to say 45 degrees, but it doesn't quite look like 45 degrees. That seems kind of steep. I'm probably going to say maybe 35 degrees should be about right. Alright, and then we're going to just place it strategically next to this cabinet. And kind of place it a little bit farther back. Okay, and then we can delete this for now. Alright, so what we're creating here is simply the edge of the bottom piece. So we're creating this little piece right here. It kind of swoops around and comes over. Just where you can, you know, do your makeup and such. Alright, let's just try not to mess it up too bad. Okay, there we go. Now what we can do is undo that. Take this and extrude it. Okay, just so we can get some extra geometry. Alright, and why don't you put a banner for Goldmine? You missed out a lot of income. I don't actually know what Goldmine is, but I probably don't miss out on significant income from it. Alright, so carrying on here, let's simply drag this the other direction, and we can delete this. Alright, and extrude this bit. Alright, and then this will sort of extrude off into our shelves. So the shelves look like we're going to need a box here. Alright, and let's just bring it up. And the shelves are sort of cut off a little closer to the edge. So right where that starts is where the shelves are about cut off. Alright, and so this piece needs to extend to the same exact area. So let's just extend it out. There we go. And so now we've kind of got the basic shape of that, and we can simply drag it back to get the full effect here. Alright, that looks pretty perfect. Now what we can do with that is simply select it, go into your lines here, chamfer, and let's see, just give it a, well, we probably don't even want those chamfered so much. Yeah, Let's actually not chamfer those edges there at all. And then not chamfer. Ooh, which edges do we not want to chamfer? We now want to chamfer these edges or these edges. We'll give those hard. Okay, there we go. Now we should have a nice soft transition there. Alright, and so for the mirror portion, oh actually let's keep this for 1 second here. Now what we need to do is build a box, and it's going to be sort of right on the edge here. Not a very big box, mind you, but it looks like it's going to sort of support the mirror somehow. I don't quite know how it does that though. It sort of goes up. Actually, I'm guessing it's actually not a box. It's probably a cylinder. That's probably what it is. So we're just going to build this cylinder here, and we'll leave it there for now. So let's get our, what is this? This is a little mirror. Okay, so delete this, sort of. Grab our mirror here. And let's just place it a little bit back, so just there's a little bit of an edge there. And like so. Okay. I just convert it to an editable poly here, and let's just bring it to the edge. Okay. And we're just going to drag it to where it is just a little bit in there. Perfect. Alright. Now what we can do is simply grab the top here and drag it to where it's, you know, inside of, well, actually that's what we can do is unhide all and change this to where it just barely touches the bottom, right below the bottom there. So that'll just let it so where there's you know, a small gap. Didn't quite go tall enough. There's the bottom here. Alright, so now there'll just be a small gap up there. Okay, now let's take that and, oops, careful. We can shift drag it over here. And press E, rotate it just until we get a straight line, which we are not getting. Odd. Very strange. So we'll just create another box here. It's just an easy method. Okay, and we know this one is straight, so we don't have to worry about it. Alright, and let's just butt it up against the one over here. Try to keep the same distance away. Alright. How's it going, Mr. Maycool? We're just over here developing what we hope is a cruise ship cabin. It's coming along pretty good. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. So let's just drag these. We want them to almost touch because in the image here we have a slight gap between the two sides. So we need to make sure that they don't overlap, or else you're going to get some strange issues when it comes to texturing. Alright, and let's make sure this is tall enough, so we're just going to match this height up to our other mirror. So we'll just come up here and bring it up. Perfect. Alright, let's grab this one over here. You can just shift drag it, make a copy, And use your symmetry tool and drag that one into place. Alright, that looks just about right. So looking at our mirror, let's hide the main building here. You can see that we have got, let's hide that and hide this, the three main pieces that come out, and that should be almost exactly what we need. And this now we can orient to where it's sort of behind these, so the mirror will butt up right against this. We can probably put another cylindrical transition piece. Alright, and we can just make sure that we don't kill anything here. Put it right in here. Alright, I'm using my hotkey Control-Alt-Q to convert to an editable poly. And we'll just make that go right into the ceiling. You're never going to see it anyway. And we're going to do the same for this one. So simply just convert to editable poly and drag it right up into the ceiling. Perfect. So now we're kind of fleshing out that area, just making it a bit better. Alright, that should do it for over there. Now we're actually going to reuse our switch asset we made earlier. So just copy your light switch, and we're going to put it on the side over here. You might not see it in this render, but I do know from cruise cabins that they have a light switch on both sides. So we just sort of need to make sure we've got that, and you can put that right here, and that's just for the lighting on the mirror face here. So, alright, let's just pop it right in, and that should be perfect there. It'll also help with the reflections and such. Okay, now what we've got to do is, let's actually drag these things down a bit. Actually, we don't want to drag them down, we need to merge them. So go over here and simply extend this out until we more or less get a straight face. So we're trying to make this completely horizontal, and this should butt up perfectly with our mirrors here. So we can just convert that to an editable poly here and drag it up until we get it to match. And again, you can leave a little bit of a gap, but you don't want too much. Things are going snap, crackle, pop somewhere on my desk. Alright, and then for this, we can probably move it over just a bit and then drag our mirror to where it's sort of a bit deeper in there. Alright, so now that we've got that, we can work on, looks like a phone jack, if I had to guess, on this corner over here. If you look at the reference picture, you can see it sort of over here. So there's a phone jack, and there's what looks like a international wall outlet. So take our plug that we have and shift drag it over here and make a copy. And we can just mirror it there just to make ourselves a little bit less worked. Alright, and you can orient it here. Now what we need to do is go to group and ungroup this. As you recall, we had grouped it earlier. And simply delete the insides here. Go into our pre-existing editable poly, and let's just bring all these down until we get a very, sort of small hole located near the bottom. Alright, and now it's going to require a bit of manual maneuvering here, but again, nothing is perfect in real life, and nothing is perfect in the 3D world either. So whatever you do, it should be fine. We can grab all these now and just try to center it up, looking at a variety of viewports here. Perfect. Now what we can do is, in fact, the easy way to do this is probably to do what? What would be the easiest way to do this? Probably not what we just did. So let's select all these and delete. Okay, and now what we can do is just cap the front and cap the back. Kind of come here and connect these two. You want two connections, and then right about there looks good. Grab this way, you need two connections as well, and just make sure you slide them down a bit. Now sometimes it happens to where the slide is messed up on one side. When it happens, there's not much you can do. You can just select these later and drag them down so they match. Alright, and again, make sure you save your work. It's extremely important. You'll really wish you had done it if you don't. Alright, and then we can simply get the bevel tool out, and we'll just, well, bevel it in just a little bit, just to give it the impression that we have got some additional geometry there. Now, grabbing your edge, what we can do is click and shift double click. You'll select everything in there. Connect with two edges. We want 0 slide, however our pinch is going to need to be pretty big. Alright, and then we want to grab these lines in here. Connect. Again, you're going to want a similar pinch, and the same thing going this way. What this will allow you to do is, that was unique. Oh, we had grabbed a couple additional lines on accident here. So connect, there we go, that works. And then let's connect it this way. Connect, perfect. And maybe even make that a bit bigger. So now if we go into our Turbo Smooth modifier, we should have what amounts to a nice little plug, and if we do 2 iterations, you'll get a little cleaner. There we go. And that should work for our wall port. Next, let's drag this over and create the international wall socket, I'm guessing. Okay, so that looks pretty good. We're actually going to, I guess, move this one over a bit and move this one over a bit. In the reference image, they're actually fairly close together. Alright, now the way we're going to do this is, let's see, we are going to, actually just, I noticed a problem here. Click this one. Actually, no, this one doesn't have a problem. This one does. Alright, there we go. Let's go to our edge mode, and we need to add a single edge with, pinch doesn't matter for a single edge, and connect here as well. What we're going to do is just stretch these out to where we get a roughly, that's odd, no idea why we're doing some Chinese stuff over here. There we go. Let's redo what we did. Alright, there we go. So we need to grab these, press R, and scale them out. we're just trying to make basically a circle. And let's scale these out. And what it'll do for us, well, if we do this on the local, there we go, is it will allow for our Turbo Smooth to give us sort of a smoother result. Now, I'm probably going to redo this simply because, well, that doesn't look very good, and that does it. And the reason being is I think we have one too many, yeah, we have just a bit too many chamfers. So let me, how do I want to go about this? I feel like we'll just delete all these polygons in here. And in fact, we don't really need to keep any of this geometry, so we'll just delete this all. Okay. So let's just make a box about the size of what we want. All right, and we'll go into isolate selection here. Just press Z on all the viewports so we can see what we're doing. And then we can go to convert it to an editable poly. Select all of the edges and give it a quick chamfer. Alright, it doesn't have to be anything big. Just again, something to break it up. So we need to connect with 2. Alright, connect with 2. And then we need to, I think, just select here and here and bridge. Alright, now if we apply Turbo Smooth, we should have a circle in the center. Yes, we do. So we can now, let's see, what do we want to do? We want to select this edge face, connect with 1, and just sort of slide it almost to the top. What we're doing here is making the edges just a bit harder. This will allow us to get the Turbo Smooth modifier working, so we don't have, you know, soft and wobbly edges. So if you look at now, you see we have hard edges on the side, and our cylinder, or our circle in the middle, still looks nice. So let's, all the edges here. Alright, shift double click, connect, and we need, just make sure you selected them all. They don't seem selected. No, actually they are. Okay. So give it a 0 slide, and then just pinch it outward a bit. Alright, there we go. So now we should have nice hard edges on the circle, which we do. And we can, let's see, how do we want to go about doing this? Let's select this and simply move it in a bit. Now go in your back, watch how you don't move it, and well, we should probably have done something else here. Grow. This is probably not going to work as intended, but alright, we'll just grab the border here, shift drag it a bit just to make it a bit deeper. Okay, grab this, shift drag, and then we will shift drag again. I think capping it might help us. Yeah, there we go. Now we've capped in the back, and we can simply, well, we don't even need to really cap this. That'll probably cause more problems than it solves. Yes, it does. Okay. So we'll just leave that as is. Again, we're only going to see the front of this plug anyway. Let's see, we need to sort of shrink this because in the grand scheme of things, the outlet is fairly big in relation to the port. Let me see what an international outlet looks like. International plug. I'm not sure where these are used. Probably Europe or something. Circular plug. Let's see. I'm just sort of googling over here. Circular wall outlet. Well, I'm going to assume that it is. Which one? This one looks cool. We're just going to do 2 little doodads on there. So let's go back into our circle here. Now we can use basically the same technique that we just did for the other circle. So connect, and we are going to, let's see, these need to go right about here, and then select this and this, connect, and these 2 are necessary. We're actually going to put this where we think the little holes go, so sort of near the top, I guess. Now if we take this vertex right here and we chamfer it, we'll come up with a perfect little square, and these will be the holes of our outlet. So if we go into polygon mode here, extrude them backwards just a bit. Well, let's right to about here, and then you go a little closer, and you select the edges inside, shift double click, connect, 2 connections, 0 slide, and quite a bit of pinch just to make it nice and sharp, and do the same for over here. I believe we may have a plug with 2 holes. That looks perfect. Alright, so we can end isolation now and drag this about to where we need it. Now we can probably just scale it in just to give the thickness about the same as what we already have. Alright, press E to rotate it around. And just, I think we're backwards. I think we're backwards. We need to go this way. Yeah, there we go. Alright. So move it in here. And then just drag it down into position. And just make sure it's the same height as our pre-existing one. And wow, did we ever get close? Look at that. That freaking never happens. Alright, but there we go. Now we've got our little holes here. Looks like we need a bit more scaling in the local just to get the thickness right. So we'll just scale it, and we'll move it in the local as well, out a little bit. Then go into your vertex mode here, and simply grab these vertices and these vertices, as well as the 2 on the top and the 2 on the bottom. I believe the 2 on the sides. Actually, screw it. We'll just do edge, shift double click, control double click for this one, and we'll just bring it back. That will do the same thing, and it'll be a lot easier. So there we go. Now we have got our little happy plug element there. And let's see, I almost want to say we should widen it a bit, but I think it's fine. So what we can do though is just shift this down a little bit. Shift this down just to close the gap. and maybe grab them both and just shift them both over. Apparently you can't do two at a time. It makes sense because you're on a local, so you can only do one. Excellent, excellent, excellent. And this thing happened to move somehow. There we go. So let's name this just, you know, outlet. Make it gray. Alright, and save. Alright, so that'll be the end of this part of the tutorial. Please like and subscribe. You know, happy modeling, and if you have any questions, feel free to comment.